Make wildlife photos stand out fast with Luminar Neo is our topic today on Luminar Coffee Break. Let's see what we can accomplish in 10 minutes or less, starting now. Hello, everyone. All right, so the photo that I'm going to be working on, it came from my good friend, Bart Feldman. He's one who owns T&F Camera. He and his wife took an incredible trip to Alaska. And let me just dive in to show it to you. Here's an image of a bear he got. So let's do this. Here's before and after. Let me get to it. Now, here's the original right here. And just with a few quick edits, this is what we're going to do with it. Now, keep this in mind. I will be the first to tell you, originally, he was at a distance. So his lens, he had a good telephoto lens. He wished it was longer. So what do you do in situations like that? What do you do when the lighting isn't good? What do you do when you're doing everything you can in camera, but you just can't get the shot? That's where you rely on some of the quick edits in Luminar Neo. So let's start. First, what I want to do is I want to clean up the noise. All right. So we'll come over to edit. And from here, noiseless, I experimented with all three, and I found that high did a very good job with it. Look at that. So we're going to go with high. Now that we have that set, let's come down to develop. Now, I'm going to do an auto adjustment here. The reason why I'm doing auto adjustment is I want you to see what Luminar Neo thinks the settings should be. So let's look before and after. Here's before. Here's after. Let's review what it thought. Well, it says shadows need to be brought down a bit. Same thing with some of the highlights. White tones and black tones, that's exactly what I would have done. Now, I think what I would do a little bit differently is I would bring down the saturation just a little bit, but pump up the vibrancy. So I really want the bear to stand out and that salmon. So let's see if it makes a difference. Before, after, great. Now, what I love best about what Luminar Neo does, it doesn't just do it for you. It shows you exactly what it did. So when you're editing other photos and you start to notice, oh, I have this image, a low contrast, the shadows are muted, I just don't see any contrast overall. When you go into develop, you can make those adjustments yourself. All right? So you have that set. Let's see what happens if we bump up contrast. That's a little too much. Right about there. Before, after. Already it's looking good. So let's look. Before, after. Okay. Now I want to do something about that water. So let's go to water enhance. I'm going to give it an arbitrary amount just for now, just to get it going. Okay, now I am going to put a little green in it. Here's the original color. In fact, you know what? Let's go to an extreme. So these are the extremes. So notice what it's doing for me is it's going way overboard because I told it to. But if I hover over this, it's actually showing me where it's applying this tool. So I'm going to dial it back right about here to where it looks realistic. Yeah, look at that, just enough, not too much, but enough to make a difference. See the blue? Yeah, I like a little more blue. And then let's see the original color. So here's the original color. Let's dial it back a bit. All right, now, look at this. I'm going to add it to these areas up in here, and you're probably wondering what I thought the same thing. Why didn't it automatically pick all of that water? That's a great question. It's something I'm going to talk to our engineers on. I think it's because it's looking at the white caps, and it wants to keep it as white as possible. Look at that. So I may come in and erase it just in these areas here, but until I get the definitive answer, I'm just doing what I think looks better. And I just like how the water looks better when I don't apply it to those areas. And then some of it here, see, and there. Does it make that big of a difference? I'm not quite sure, but I just like the way it looks. And that, at the end of our edits, is what we're really looking for. So let's see it. Before, after, yeah, there we are. I like it. Now I want to come in, and I do want to apply a little more structure or sharpening to the bear itself. So let's do boost. Notice I'm not messing with the amount. I just want the finer details. And that's what I want to do with the bear. But I only want it on the bear. So I'm going to brush using mask, and I'm going to paint in the effect just on him and that poor salmon. Good. And let's see if it makes a difference. Nice. You know what? Let's see what would happen if, well, let's go to an extreme. That's way overboard. Let's go right about here, maybe. Or maybe boost. So again, boost is finer details. Amount is the overall. So I'm going to try to play a balancing act with this. Let's go lower. There we go. All right. So I like where it's at. Now I want to draw more attention just to the bear itself. We could use a vignette, or we can just come in here, and I want to take Enhance AI, and I want to make the overall image look great, but let's use Radial Gradient. Let's just apply it just to the bear. And let's see if that does the trick. Yeah, look at that. Look how it was able to bring that sharpness, or the eye, towards the bear without changing the lightness or the brightness of that background. Because if we did the background, let's say we did this. If we did one of these, and then linear gradient, nope, wrong one. Let's do radial gradient. And let's say we did this, but we inverted it. This is what it would look like. And to me, that just looks fake. Even if I dialed it back a bit. So, yeah, I just think that looks fake. So I'm going to leave it the way I had it. So once again, we went from this to this. Short, quick, and fast. Now, if you have a series of these images, what you may want to do is think, okay, well, what can I do that's a common denominator for all the images? Noise reduction. And I want to enhance the color of the water. And I also want to bring back some other structure. So you may make a preset that does that for this whole series, and then go back one-to-one or one-on-one and just quality control it. All right? So one more time, let's look at what we did. We came in here, noiseless. Then we did our develop. And again, that taught us what the settings are. We applied the water enhancer, a little structure, and then to draw light to the subject, I did something a little bit different, a reverse. I brought out the bear and not touched the background itself. So I hope that was easy for you. And again, it gives you those quick edits that you could do fast and efficient. So if you have images like this, please share them with us. I'd love to see what you guys can create. Now, if you're here, please stick around for the Ask Me Anything segment. For everyone else, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you the next coffee break.